Good evening. I am Phyllis Logan, the first Vice President for the Chicago West Side Branch Naacp. I am also the Housing and Economic Sustainability Committee Chair. And welcome this evening. I know that we've brought a lot of topics to you guys over the course of the past month, and we want to continue with that. As always, our office, let me give you our office information. We are located at 5820 West Chicago Avenue. Our office phone number is 773-261-5890. And of course, our monthly meetings are the first Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. at our office location. So I invite you to not only use this information for your records, to either call our office for any questions or comments you may have, but to also join us at our monthly meetings to hear all of the activity that we produce through the course of the month, how we are engaged in community activity that we bring to you. This evening, our topic, a topic I really want to talk with you on that I think needs your sound bites, your concerns, your actions, and it's the Eisenhower Project. I was part of the study for the Eisenhower, which started back in 2009, and just one of the task force members. We discussed how to best reconstruct the Eisenhower. The Eisenhower, for your information, this reconstruction will take place between west of Mannheim. This is where the 290 and the I-88 split up. That's at past Mannheim, past that intersection, and it'll go all the way east to Racine. And you can see the shaded areas here. The shaded areas will be the areas that will be affected by this project. My concern with this is that I know that there's been many community forums. There's been many community forums hosted in the village of Oak Park. Oak Park citizens, residents, are concerned of the effect that this reconstruction will have on them, on their communities. Chicago, I know that in the month of January there were two meetings. One was in Maywood, and as current, the last one in January was over at Malcolm X. Let me show you this overview again. This is the Eisenhower, and all of the shaded area in green will be affected by the reconstruction of the Eisenhower. This study has completed itself to state what the needs and concerns are, what areas will be most effective, what newness this will bring to the Eisenhower, what changes will be made to the Eisenhower, how this will affect the land that is in corridor of the Eisenhower. So if you look at all the green, compare the green to the areas that are affected. Many of these areas, if you look at the center of this screen, this grid shows us much of everything from the 43, which is Harlem, all the way back to your right, my right. All of that impacts Chicago. How does this impact people that live along the Chicago corridor of the Eisenhower? Not only is this reconstruction going to affect many households that live along the corridor of the Eisenhower, but the other impacts is that this type of major construction is going to require jobs. Jobs as well as contracts for all of those road builders out there that will look for opportunities to be engaged in this project. We don't know when it will actually go into effect, when the funding will come to the state of Illinois for Chicago, for the Eisenhower, but we do know that people living along this corridor will be affected, and there's opportunity. The opportunity comes with jobs. And our concern that we want to make sure you understand is that if you're alderman, and this is the alderman of the 29th Ward, the alderman of the 28th Ward, as well as the alderman from the 24th Ward, they should be hosting public meetings, letting the families know within those corridors how you will be affected. One of the things that this plan does call for is building a wall, a noise barrier wall. So, I was just talking to one of our colleagues that, if you live along the Eisenhower and you like counting cars, you won't be able to count those cars anymore. There will be a wall shielding you from the noise that comes from the Eisenhower. So it takes away possibly your sunshine, but it definitely takes away the activity of counting cars. Okay, if that was a summer or springtime activity sitting out on your front porch. But what it also does is there may be some opportunity, and the alderman should be able to share this with you, the community stakeholders, if the government is looking to take, or city is looking to take homes away to help enhance this project. When they take your home away for a public project, it's called eminent domain. Will any of these homes be taken away? Will families have to relocate? Will the families be uprooted from, especially along the Eisenhower, of providing space for their family, living comfortably, securely for so many years? Will that opportunity, will you lose out because they want to enhance and reconstruct the Eisenhower? Give us a call, 312-738-1060. We are live and interactive, and we need to hear from you, your questions or your concerns. Give us a call back. So, going back to this grid, this project is going to bring in millions of dollars to not just the city of Chicago, but Oak Park to the west, Forest Park is on the corridor, Maywood is on the corridor, Bellwood is on this corridor of the Eisenhower. There's quite a few communities that are along this corridor. So this goes all the way to Racine. And Racine is where the university sits at, and, going into the educational spaces there. But a good patch of this space includes Columbus Park, but it also may affect Garfield Park. All of these affected areas that you saw in the green will be affected in some way by way of the traffic from the huge equipment that has to come through there, just the daily activity of construction. But I need you guys to be concerned in two ways. Number one, if it affects your community, what are the benefits to you? We talk about low and very low income families being able to benefit from these federal projects. Anytime federal dollars come into your community, one of the first choices, it should be from the project manager or the construction, the developer themselves, should be to employ people within communities that are low and very low income or poverty status. The way they make comments sometimes in Chicago when they talk about statistics, a good portion of this green corridor going east of Austin Boulevard or going east of even Cicero consists of families who may be low and very low income families. These families should have first rights to employment, and that's where the conversation with your alderman needs to take place. The NAACP, we are proactive, we're not reactive. We're proactive in providing you the information that you need, that you deserve on a regular basis, and we want to assist. Anytime there's an opportunity for you to want to have a meeting with your alderman, Call your alderman, schedule the time, invite us, the Chicago West Side branch members, invite us out to that community meeting, specifically to talk about the activities that are going to happen on the Eisenhower. And we don't want to wait until they are ready to start digging the gravel or digging the pavement. We want to have people in place for these jobs. Part of this project, when you have federal funds, especially under HUD Section 3, requires that people get training. If there's an opportunity for you to get trained to work on this site, that's conversation you need to have with your alderman. Call them out on it and say, what's happening with the Eisenhower project? When will it get started? How can I, as a resident of your ward, benefit from an employment opportunity? It is only fair that you ask. Give us a call, 312-738-1060. Let us hear your questions or comments, because this project here is going to start. We don't know how soon it's going to start. They're still working with the engineers. They're still working, waiting on the federal funds to come through. And this is really one of those infrastructure jobs that the U.S. President has talked about, rebuilding our roads and our railways and our bridges. This is one of those major projects that our U.S. President has talked about. So we know that after all of this money that they've spent to do this study, we know that this is going to happen. We know that it's going to happen. How soon, we don't know. But we know that our elected officials should be very knowledgeable on what's getting ready to happen in the city of Chicago along the Eisenhower corridor and how it affects our community. I want to show you one other overhead here, but I also want you to make sure that you have our number. Our office number, once again, is 773-261-5890. And, you know, you could become a member. You can participate in the activity. Be engaged in what we're talking about on a regular basis. Help us out, you know, to be proactive. If we have areas of concern, we want to make sure that we reach out to all of the people that are affected by anything that's going on. So what I'm looking for now is in this graph here. This grid here is this is the area, I want to say the 171, this is Harlem. The 171 is Harlem. But we're going to go down because, as you can see from all of the blue, everything that's lined up in the blue, that's the affected area. I think here in the 137, it shows me a list of what this 137 consists of. You know, they also show on here ways, areas where there's national historic properties that will not be affected. The I-37, this area, this one I-37 area, I don't see the title to it. But if I scroll down even further, I'm going to get to areas of concern. This right here is in the Oak Park area. So this is Harlem, possibly to Austin Boulevard. And if we scroll down a little bit more here, we'll see some more areas. You see all of the blue lined here. All of the blue is the affected area. This here is the Eisenhower, so we see that the blue will be stretched out a little bit further than the Eisenhower. We don't know what business this will be, but this area here is Oak Park. So we're going to scroll down and get past Oak Park into the Chicagoland area. So here we see Columbus Park. Columbus Park, you'll see the blue stretches up to Columbus Park, goes around Austin Boulevard right here. But then we get back to Austin and we come along this way. This is on the north side or the south side of the Eisenhower. Columbus Park is on the north side of the Eisenhower. So the Columbus Park will have some work done to it to help enhance it. But then we see the full body of the Columbus Park, and we reach back around to the blue area, and we're on the north side of the Eisenhower. This is Central all the way back, and you see homes along this corridor. These are some of the families that will be affected because they're in this project area. And this is where you need to talk to your alderman in reference to knowing how this project is going to impact your livelihood. So we'll go further down and we'll see now we have Central going down to Laramie. And this area here, we've got Michelle Clark is in here somewhere. I think this is Michelle Clark right up here in this green area here. Michelle Clark is also in the affected area. What will they do with the school? But also still on the north side as well as the south side of the Eisenhower, where this project will take place. This is all part of the affected area. What will it take away from you on a daily basis? How will this affect your livelihood if this is where you live? This is what your alderman really needs to be talking to you about. And then if we go further east some more, here we have, I think we're in between Laramie and Cicero. Here we have, let's see what projects we have here. We've got Michelle Clark is here. This is Michelle Clark. The West Lexington something. I think that's electrical facility. It does not talk about the where the driver's facility. It doesn't talk about the DLV at all in here. But some of these green spots are talking about major properties that are not eligible for historic landmarks. We have a lot of older homes throughout, and they did a study, and within the study they were able to label which properties were of landmark status or which ones were not. But once again, you see the blue line here talking about the affected area. And this is the area where we need you to call your alderman. Call your alderman. This is part of the 29th Ward, the 28th Ward, the 24th Ward. If you live in this corridor, you need to be requesting from your alderman a public forum so that you guys can discuss what's happening, how the Eisenhower project is going to affect you. It is truly important. We don't want this destruction to start and then we get last wind of what's happening, and then we don't want families misplaced or displaced at all. So you need to be involved in this. Give us a call, 312-738-1060. Give us your questions or comments. This is a very important topic. It not only talks about relocation of families, destruction of everyday lives. It talks about job opportunities, contracting opportunities for people like you and I, everyday people. And they say the city of Chicago, our unemployment rate is high. This is one way of getting our young people, able-bodied people employed. We want to know if they're doing any training for highway trades jobs. I don't care if you're just holding up a stop sign for people or even to slow down. It's a job. And it pays the required wages, prevailing wages for you to work on these job sites. Even if you're just collecting debris from the deconstruction, it's a job. And it could be a long-term job. This stretch of the Eisenhower is many miles. And that means that there will be an opportunity for you to learn this trade, but to work on this project, but to be able to be qualified and experienced to work on other projects. So if they wanted to really start a positive outlook on jobs for our people within our communities, then they start with you right here with the Eisenhower. So we're going to go a little bit further down this map, and let's see what else we have. I know all of this is still Chicago. And I think this is around Cicero corridor where the Eisenhower makes that little turn that everybody slows down on. Everybody slows excuse me, everyone slows down right up here in this spot on the Eisenhower. I'm a witness. I'm on this Eisenhower every day. And then we get down to, let's see where we're at now. We're getting closer to Pulaski. You can see Garfield Park is right here. So this right here should be Hamlin, where the Garfield Park starts at. And you'll see that Garfield Park is also affected by this. But all of the homes, and we do know that there's homes on the north and the south side of the Eisenhower. There's possibly some historic homes all throughout this area, but people do live along this corridor. You need to be concerned about how you will be effective if you live along this corridor. It's only fair that you know what's getting ready to happen to you. The green spots, once again, are areas that are not eligible, and I think this is the factories up in that area on the south side of the expressway. This property right here, this is an elementary school, but it's not telling me the name of it, so I don't see that. This is the West Harrison Street district. I think this is a electrical facility or something. Yeah, that's an electrical facility for ComEd or you know, someone. Then when we go down further, this is all part of Garfield Park once again. So we don't see the corridor to the Eisenhower, but we see how far in this blue shaded area, how much of Garfield Park will be affected by this new construction of the Eisenhower. Then we come back and we still have Garfield Park. Still have Garfield Park. We're still in Chicago. And then go down further, we get back to the Eisenhower. So all of Garfield Park and then along this corridor is being affected on the north side and the south side. So this street down here, this is possibly Flournoy. You've got Lexington, you got Congress. Well, actually you have Harrison on the south side of the expressway. After Harrison is Lexington, Flournoy, Polk Street. But I think this stops at Flournoy or Lexington, whichever one is the last of those two. And then these marks here, the pink states that this space here is eligible for the historic properties, which means that they possibly won't bother it or try to destroy or you know, hinder it anyway. Then this is the Bethany Church. That's right on the corner of Central Park and Congress Parkway. And then when we go down further, let's see where else we got here. We have some other historical areas. This right here going toward Kedzie Western. There's some historical sites there of properties that are eligible. But once again, look at the stretch of the blue marks here of the areas that are in the affected area for the Eisenhower project. This is enough. There's homes throughout here. There are plenty of homes along this corridor here. Congress Parkway and Harrison are two of our major areas where families live and reside, have lived for years. So we have got to have some concern here. Then when we go further down, we come up with some more affected areas. This here possibly is going toward Western California, all here in the green. These are properties that are not eligible for, you know, deconstruction, but we don't know what they're going to do. And if these are properties, areas of concern to you, you need to be communicating with your alderman. What's going to happen? Now we're toward the end of the, where the 28th Ward should come into play. This is all along the Eisenhower corridor. And you know, it really is, it's saddening that if we cannot get you, the community stakeholders, to call your alderman and start the conversation now. Don't wait till the last minute when the project is up and running, when the jobs have already been let out, when your voice has not been heard, and then the jobs are given, and then you ride through the job site and you don't see people who look like you. It will not be our fault because we're giving you plenty of time to communicate with your alderman and let your alderman know that you have concerns and that you want to be able to receive benefits from this major project. Any federal project, federally funded project, requires that individuals that live within the communities of low and very low income communities be hired on these job sites, be given training on these job sites. So, we need you to help us help you. But once again, our office number, 773-261-5890. Let us know if you're setting up or scheduling or want us to talk with your alderman about scheduling a public meeting about the Eisenhower project, and we will be more than happy to come out to assist. So with that, I have one other, I just want to remind everyone that the Naacp has Monte Carlo, our Freedom Fund, May 13th, and we'll talk more about that next week. Until then, I'm Phyllis Logan, your host, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Thank you.